We've been joined by two guests to discuss more on that. Jennylyn Pace-Gleave joins us from the US, and in the studios we've been joined by Zamir Ahmed Awan Saab, foreign affairs expert. Thank you very much, Zamir Saab, to have joined us as well. We will begin with Zamir Saab. Zamir Saab, polling has begun in different states of the US as we speak. 50 states, people are enthusiastic, people have different points of views. How does the day look like to you?
It is just the beginning of the day. I have spoke to some of my friends there, and they are always very much confused because it is too early to predict something.
All right, so I'll ask the same question to my guest who has joined us online, Jennylyn Pace-Gleave. Thank you very much to have joined us. This is our first interaction. I hope it will be the first of many. Jennylyn, tell me a little bit about what's going on today. In which state are you present, and what are the reports that you are hearing from the different states, from different polling centers that have opened today?
Good morning, and thank you for including me in this morning's interview. Based on what I have been observing, it's a very quiet, seemingly regular day. And apart from what's being reported on television, it just seems it's too early really to make any predictions, but people are going out to vote. And on the various websites and social media platforms, people are posting that they have voted. Right now, it feels really calm, and of course, each party is hoping their preference will be the winner, but I think it's too early in the day to really tell, what is going to unfold.
All right, Jennylyn, let's talk a little bit about the last campaigns that both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris had. I'll begin with Trump, who held his rally in Michigan in the Grand Rapids. He also, it was the same place where he closed his 2016 and 2020 campaigns as well. He predicts a large victory, and of course we all know the different claims that he has been putting forward. He also has again made an effort to win over the Muslim and Arab voters in Michigan, who seem to be dissatisfied with Harris's support for the war in Gaza. He says, and I quote, "They put America last, we put America first." He also said, and so this is something I'm going to ask you, he says the silent majority is back and tomorrow you need to get out and vote. Is the silent majority going to vote in Trump's favor, or do they have other candidates in mind as well?
It is so difficult as an independent person, someone who doesn't know everyone, to tell. A lot of people are quiet. A lot of people are not really expressing which side they're on. The country is very divided. And I think until the day is over, only then we can really make an accurate assessment of how this will go. Because depending on who's reporting the news, the slant can go for both people within the same hour. So it's very, very difficult to predict and determine what is going to happen. We just have to wait until they've tallied the votes at the end of the day. But based on the turnout for the various campaigns, although I am remaining neutral, it seems like it is in Mr. Trump's favor.
All right. We'll now go to our guest in the studios. Kindly stay online with us, Jennylyn. Zamir Saab, Zamir Saab, I'd like to understand, Kamala Harris was recently in Pennsylvania. This is one of the major swing states which holds 19 electoral votes, and they say that this is the make or break state as far as these elections that have begun today is concerned. She outlines to plan an economy where we bring down the cost of living, promises to make housing and childcare more affordable. She talks about banning corporate price gouging on groceries, housing and childcare, taxes, tax cuts for workers, for middle class families. Are these statements going to lure the voters towards the Democrats, or is it a bit too late in the day?
I think that this election more look like the third world countries elections. Both the candidates are claiming victories and lead a big lead, and they are making promises and they are putting forward their agendas, especially on economy and international relation and all these things. But one thing which I believe that it is the first time there is a realization of the Muslim vote bank. They believe the Muslim votes matter, not only matter, but matter a lot. They are trying to convince the Muslim community, especially Israel, Gaza, and Middle East situation, has instrumental role in this election.
All right, Zamir sir, but you talk about Gaza. I'd like to understand, how do you see both the candidates when it comes to the foreign policy? Both the candidates talk about the Ukraine-Russia conflict, they talk about the Palestine-Israel conflict, and of course both have a tilt towards Israel when it comes to this conflict. But Kamala Harris says that she's going to move towards a two-state solution if she comes into power. Then of course there are other global issues also. Taiwan, that Kamala Harris seems to be very close to as we speak, and China also, which Trump seems to be close to as far as, you know, handling, as he says, China once he comes into power. How do you see the foreign policy objectives of both the candidates, and who do you feel seems more balanced as far as their foreign policy statements are concerned?
Kamala Harris' foreign policy will remain same as the Biden. Basically, she was a vice president and she has completed one tenure of 4 years, and it is expected that she will continue the same policies. And if the Trump come into the power, he might have a different approach, especially toward the Ukraine war. On Taiwan and on the Middle East, I believe there will be no big difference.
All right.
I don't believe there's a big difference.
All right.
And also, in American system, the president is a very powerful person, but he has very little space for to manipulation. There is a deep state which make major decisions.
All right.
The outline of the policy is set by certain authorities, and they have very little space to manipulate.
All right, all right. Coming to you, Jennylyn, let's talk economy. You know, economy is something that many of the voters in the US are hinging upon as far as their voting patterns are concerned. Let's begin with Trump, who says he's going to slash the corporate rate tax, cut government spending, impose massive tariffs on foreign made goods, and make the US the world's largest energy producer. Kamala Harris says she's going to cut taxes for more than 100 million working and middle class Americans while increasing the corporate tax rate. She also wants to ban price gouging and build an opportunity economy agenda to boost small businesses and entrepreneurs. Which of these economic agendas do you feel is more attractive for the voters?
I think if you were to interview each individual American, you may find that both are appealing to some of the voters. The bottom line is all of these promises excite the voters, and usually it's what will incent the vote. But when that person gets to the White House, whomever ends up there, all of these promises, they are not, as you know, at liberty to execute on. It depends on what happens when it's taken to the House, to the Congress, and oftentimes these types of promises are vetoed. So it really leaves us in a very hopeful place, although those of us who've done the research, we are aware that we may not be able to have these promises delivered, even if the candidate of choice does end up in the White House.
Jennylyn, let's also discuss immigration as a very important topic, because this has been the highlight of many a campaign before the elections. Trump says he wants to use the National Guard to deport millions of undocumented immigrants, many of whom have been in the US for years. He says he's going to end birthright citizenship for children of undocumented parents. He said he's going to execute migrants who commit murders in the US, and has demonized migrants in profanity-laden campaign speeches. Let's come to Kamala Harris, who acknowledging the US's current immigration system is broken, but says she wants to pass a border security bill that would increase detection technology and add 1,500 new border agents, and also supports an earned pathway to citizenship. How, I know the difference is quite stark as far as immigration is concerned for both these campaigns, but what do you feel people are leaning more towards?
I think that people in America are very unhappy, and personally I'm very confused, because Miss Harris, or the Democratic Party, have been accused of opening our borders recently, and we have had an influx of people just walking across our borders without going through the regular process to come here. I have many friends living in other parts of the world that can't even get a visa to come to visit, and these people just walked across the border. So to be honest with you, I'm completely confused. It it seems like a contradiction. So I guess we will just have to wait on time to see what those promises really mean.
I understand where you're coming from. Zamir Saab, gerrymandering is also a term that has been used often, and they say that in the election campaigns is something that is used to help candidates. Now, it is, of course, it has been called vote rigging, a power grab, and just plain sneaky, but it's legal. And both the Republicans and the Democrats use it. I mean, it's a process of redrawing voting districts to favor political parties. How do you feel this could also help in these elections?
If you allow me, I want to say something about the immigrants.
All right, please go ahead.
In fact, America is an immigrant society. Those who has been immigrated long ago and they have the legal documents and they got the citizenship, they are still immigrants. They have the roots from other countries. They are maybe focusing more on the illegal immigrants without documentation. There is a lot of realization that the illegal immigrants are major cause of the problems and the crimes and some unrest in the society. But they don't know that they are also contributing to the as a workforce and the cheaper labor. All the donkey work and the dirty work, these are illegal immigrants are performing it. And if any candidate take severe action against these people or deport them, American economy will suffer a lot.
All right, that's your take on it. Jennylyn, coming to you, the mayor of Hamtramck, Amir Ghalib, and the mayor of Dearborn Heights, Bill Bazzi, have both spoken at the beginning of the Republican event in Grand Rapids in Michigan, and they all have both have endorsed Trump. Now, both are Arab Americans. At the same time, we are also hearing a lot of reports of many of the Arab Americans who are disillusioned with both Trump as well as Kamala Harris and are voting for Jill Stein. What are the statistics as far as the Arab American or even the African American community in the US is concerned? Who are they leaning more towards?
Well, again, it depends on where you're getting the numbers from. Sometimes in the same day, some of the mainstream media networks will report that Trump is leading, and in that same day, the network that favors the other candidate will report that that person is leading. And so it's really difficult as an American to really know what the numbers really are, because all we have to go to for these results are the mainstream media that's reporting it. So to tell you the truth, I don't know, but based on what I see at the rallies, it would appear as though it's Trump.
I'm asking you a lot of the questions because I'd like your point of view as far as that is concerned. Tim Walz seizes on Trump, saying he's going to protect women whether they like it or not, and he says tomorrow, and this happened yesterday, he said tomorrow women all across America are free age, both parties are going to send a loud and clear message to Donald Trump whether he likes it or not. And this was, of course, concerning the whole abortion law and the whole campaign that has been going on both the sides as far as abortion as a subject is concerned. Will abortion, in your point of view, be one of the key deciders?
Is that question for me?
Yes, it's for you, Jennylyn.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize it was for me. I think based on what I've been listening to and what I know and what I personally believe, this would be an incentive, yes, for women to vote for him. But when it comes to other issues in terms of controlling what a woman does with her body, it seems to me like even this is not something that a president can promise and have it delivered as promised, because all of the promises have to be agreed upon by both sides. And this is where the problem lies, because we can all, if I were a candidate, I would make many promises and I would really hope to deliver on them. But these promises are just, I feel, incentives to get people to trust that candidate. But there is no guarantee that it will be delivered. And I think a lot more Americans are aware of this now. So even though these promises are being made, those people who have done their homework may not necessarily use that as the reason to favor the particular candidate. It shows that they want to, but it's also they're limited on delivering what they're telling us that they are promising.
All right, all right. Thank you very much, Jennylyn Pace-Cleave, to have joined us all the way from the United States.